It is time to get raw, and it is time to throw down. It is time for the RAWDOWN, the number one source for all things WWE, right here on the Turnbuckle Tavern. I am your host, Young Anthony, joined as always by my co-hosts,
Boney, Con JBone in the hizzy. What's up, brother?
What is going on? And nothing much, like I said off camera, it's finals week for Young Anthony, so a lot of work ahead of me, but
I don't have to worry about that anymore. I'm good.
yeah, thankfully
That's another
for you,
life.
yeah, exactly. But thankfully, we could put aside some time for the RAWDOWN.
Yeah.
We're not joined by Tom, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, yeah. But we're going to nonetheless get into a stacked episode today. We got Jeff Hardy talk. We're talking Nick Khan potentially running the WWE going forward.
Wow.
What's the future for Kyle O'Reilly and Johnny Gargano? And of course, who won the week? Raw versus SmackDown. But before we do all of that, we need to say hello to our viewers because Austin is here. Good evening to you as well. Jaden Sneed is here. Hello. Thank you for joining. Of course, Tyson. It's Tuesday, and you know what that means. He is here along with that Tyson, and the Pro Wrestling Podcast.
Big day.
It is time. So before we get into our WWE chat for the day, Boney, JBone, whatever you want to call yourself, what do you got going on over at Coming Down the Aisle?
Well, this week we've got actually just wrapped up an interview about an hour ago. The interview this week is going to be with Mr. Mike Kinnick. He is currently working with Matt Cardona and Brian Myers on the new Major Bendies. So
nice.
this is if you remember what these were the Bendies that we and I know this is a fake night. We'll talk about it real quick, but they have Matt Cardona, Brian Myers, Swoggle, and Mark Sterling coming out soon. Well, actually, they did a soft launch last week. Anticipating mine coming in the mail. Can't wait. And then they'll have, of course, a full launch coming in January. We talk about that. And we watch Stone Cold Steve Austin versus I'm Not a Nugget Owen Hart from SummerSlam 1997. Mr. Kinnick was there and present, so he gives his full review. And then, as always, we're going to have a Free the Fig and all that good stuff. So check us out.
Fig. Yeah. I'm loving it. Loving what you're doing over there. And of course, loving what we're doing over here at the tavern because you can support the Turnbuckle Tavern. Oh, wait. First of all, let's actually Pro Wrestling Podcast said it first. Rest in peace, Jimmy Rave.
Yes.
Such an unfortunate. I wasn't too big with Jimmy Rave. I didn't know a lot of him. But I've been following what's been going on with him lately and such an unfortunate turn of events. Do you know anything? Have you watched him, followed his career?
I have not. I mean, I know kind of a little bit. He tagged with Lance Hoyt
right,
to do the Rock and Rave Connection, I believe was the name of it. But I last, I guess, couple of months whenever he's kind of put it out there that he had to have his legs amputated to kind of follow what was going on. I'd heard the name, never really knew much about him, but it's tragic to see because I knew he had some young kids and whatnot, and I don't know, it sucks, it sucks to see somebody at the age of 39, somebody 4 years older than me, not on this earth,
Yeah, it's insane. Even if you follow them, you don't follow them, you know them, you don't. A loss is a loss in pro wrestling, and this is a heartbreaking one. So of course, rest in peace to Jimmy Rave.
We also I would like to mention too. We also was unfortunately not the only death. Blackjack Lanza passed away last week. Very influential in the Attitude Era. Was a producer and in tag team wrestling as one half of the Blackjack. So
absolutely,
rest in peace, Blackjack Lanza. Rest in peace, Jimmy Rave. It's a sad day in this world for sure. So
yeah, sad time, but just gotta keep moving forward. Austin says, I heard Chad say that Tyson and Austin will be Sunday's Turnbuckle Tavern podcast.
That's awesome.
Oh, So let me plug the tavern real quick. You can support us in any way possible. Like this video on YouTube, leave a comment telling us what you thought of the week in WWE.
Yeah.
You could subscribe, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, listen to the podcast every day except for Sunday. You are going to get a Turnbuckle Tavern branded podcast that you can listen to on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, and go to just all the links in the description, the bio, wherever, to get all of your Turnbuckle Tavern needs. Plus, you can go ahead and support in another way, and that is, of course, with your very own Turnbuckle Tavern t-shirt over at ProWrestlingTees.com/tavern to get a Young Anthony shirt, to get a Boney Khan shirt. Go be a pawpaw, Vince, even though Vince is suddenly
he might be going to be. He might be taking our advice there, Young Anthony. He might be going to be a pawpaw soon.
He might be, and we're going to be talking about all of that, so make sure you stay tuned. That was a good transition. But you see, but yeah, of course, just follow us wherever you can follow us. Links will be in the description below. But
I want to real quick, and I know Chad mentioned it last week. Chad, on the main podcast, if anyone knows, and this is kind of going off the rails here a little bit, but anybody who's good with YouTube, hit us up. We're trying to grow this thing, trying to get as many followers as we can. So if anybody is good with the algorithm and all that good stuff, definitely hit any one of us up and see if we can help us grow this son of a bitch.
Trying to fix the algorithm. Enough of my horrible Macho Man impression. We have to get into the news outside of the ring because that's going to take up the majority of this episode because there is so much to talk about.
Right.
We weren't on an episode until we heard about the news about Jeff Hardy's release.
Right.
So it's time to finally talk about this. It was heartbreaking news. And I'm very, very upset about it. So the timeline of events is that Jeff Hardy wrestled in a house show the Saturday before his release. And something seemed off. We're not going to jump to conclusions, but something seemed off about him. He was escorted into the crowd. He was taking pictures with fans. Just something was strange. We didn't hear much about it. People were giving their thoughts to him, making sure he was okay.
And real quick, I'm going to say something real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck you to all those guys. Like, oh yeah, once a junkie, always a junkie.
Oh
go fuck yourself. Okay?
Yeah, there's no allegation talk that's needed about that. Like literally, like if you said that, what the fuck is
you're a piece of shit. So.
But regardless, we're not jumping to any conclusions about what happened, if he was this, if he was that, but that's what we saw on Saturday. The rest of the week, you got a lot of thoughts and I guess prayers from a lot of people wishing him well, a lot of praise on the Twitter community. And then all of a sudden on Wednesday, was it Wednesday or Thursday? It was Thursday.
It was Wednesday, I think. I think it was Wednesday, actually.
It was either Wednesday or Thursday.
No, it was Thursday. It was Thursday, yeah.
Because I remember I was at a pizzeria that day, and I jumped out of my seat when I found this news that Sean Ross Sapp confirmed that Jeff Hardy was released. Mm-hmm. WWE had offered him rehab, which he declined, and that is where we stood until more recently when we got more news from his wife and from Matt that maybe it wasn't a lot of rehab and all this. I think it was confirmed that it was offered rehab and he turned down. But Matt said that he's in probably the best shape that he has been in a while. I think his wife was even saying that there was more to the story, and we both agreed that we're not going to jump to conclusions about anything on this episode. But I just want to hear what your overall thoughts are about this release. What were your immediate reactions, and we'll talk more about Jeff Hardy, but do you have a favorite memory of Jeff Hardy? I think that's what we really need to highlight here is more of a celebration of his time in WWE. Do you have a favorite WWE Jeff Hardy moment?
Several Jeff Hardy moments, favorite ones. It's kind of hard to really narrow one down.
Yeah.
So the first one that comes to mind is when he's getting speared by Edge as he's hanging with the titles, WrestleMania 17.
Mm-hmm.
That's, I mean, God, that's classic Jeff Hardy. In fact, you can almost see it if you zoom in. About, let's see if how can I do this, but right there on this first shelf of wrestling rings. Yeah, okay. Where you got those first shelf wrestling rings right there, and on the second shelf right there, you can almost see his hands. I got the tag team. You can see where that red shirt is. I don't know if you can see it or not.
I see it.
But yeah. So that's Brood Jeff Hardy right there. But that kind of represents a little bit of that era, of course. So the Brood Hardys, of course, and into the Hardy Boys, Team Extreme, if you will. Of course, the classic match with Undertaker. That was his breakout performance there.
Mm-hmm.
And then, honestly, I was very excited, very surprised when he made his comeback in 2006, I believe it was. I think it was whenever Morrison had the title, right. Johnny Nitro, and it kind of surprised Nitro, and Hardy came out. I'm like, whoa, this is big. This is really huge, So, like, it was definitely a very fun comeback. And then, we could talk about WrestleMania 33. There's a lot of moments,
Yeah,
So,
no, totally. I mean, when it comes to my history with Jeff, I was always so mad becoming a wrestling fan because I just missed the boat. I started watching wrestling in November 2009, and I was huge on WWE.
Right.
So I just missed the boat on seeing Jeff in WWE.
Mm-hmm.
So I think one of just the best moments for me was seeing that WrestleMania 33 moment, because to me it was finally I get to see this guy in WWE. And of course, sure, it was with Matt, and it wasn't really a singles run early on, but everything about that was so great. And I really love a lot of the more underrated matches that Jeff has had within his career. One of them that comes to mind in this more recent run is his Hell in a Cell match with Randy Orton, which happened not too long ago. I thought that was just a really good match. Even the Clash of Champions, the ladder match with AJ Styles and Sami Zayn, thought that was such a great match. He's had a lot of really good ones that not a lot of people talk about. Even I could just keep going on and on. Him and Umaga had a great match.
Yeah.
Of course, the one I watched on your show, Jeff versus Matt at WrestleMania 25, which is still to this day probably my favorite match of all time. Although I'll turn a lot of heads if I admit that, but I will here on the show.
No, but I mean, we even talked about it on the show. I think it's a great match. It's very underrated.
So good. The creativity
match
involved, and that's a match that Jeff has even said that he wasn't too proud of because they wanted to do more. But even with that, the level of which they included so much high spots and all this in that match, it just goes to show you how much of a creative wrestler Jeff is. I was going to say was, but is. Just go if you got time this weekend, and I know you do because winter break is coming up. Go back and just watch some Jeff Hardy matches. I could give you a list of matches that you need to watch from him if you haven't already. But yeah, man, I was bummed about, just the whole release, but I know that whenever he decides to get back in the ring, he has a lot of time ahead of him to, maybe reunite with Matt, go somewhere else. The possibilities are endless. So when that happens, I don't know. But yeah, I'm for now, we're at least looking back at the good memories we had of Jeff in WWE if we ever see him in WWE again.
So it's crazy. One of the best figures that came out this week, I know I'm doing a lot of figure talk this week, but is this Jeff Hardy. I'm trying to see if I can pull it out here. If I can find it.
Delete. Yes, indeed.
This Jeff Hardy figure. I don't know what I did with it offhand.
What was the ultimate?
Yes, it's that ultimate edition.
Figure.
And it's a great figure. And I recorded the night before he got released, and just not because of anything that happened with the news. I just was like, I want to open this figure. It's time to open it up. I want to record it. I think it'd be a good time to do it for my channel. And then the next day he got released. I'm like, oh, this is convenient.
I know. Just horrible timing.
Yeah. It's definitely one of the most beloved figures this year. It's selling out like crazy.
Yeah.
And it's unbelievable that we're gonna get this, but this I don't want to make anything misconstrued here. This is not the end for Jeff Hardy.
Oh no, definitely not. There's, like I said, so many possibilities. I would love to see a Hardy's reunion. I would love to see anywhere they go, be it AEW, Impact. That's for future speculation. But
so he was on Matt's YouTube channel or Twitch channel, something like that.
Yeah.
And he's basically announced he's gonna have a Twitch channel.
Yeah. He's still going on tour.
Yeah. He's gonna go on tour for his music. And the Twitch channel, I think, is gonna be a lot about his art and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's gonna be cool. And I know when you say we aren't gonna do speculation, I really think he just needed a mental break.
Yeah. I mean, I want to wait until he says something. I know Matt has said stuff, his wife. I'm waiting until he says it, because at the end of the day, and I want to read some comments and then we'll move on to the next thing. But the last thing I'll say on this is just that Jeff Hardy is my favorite wrestler besides The Undertaker of all time.
Yeah.
So when I heard the news about him getting released, of course I was heartbroken. But I want to see where he goes from here. And I know that because he's so talented because he's so creative and because there he is, I love such a fucking good figure. Because he's so creative, because he's such an icon in pop culture. I know that he's going to do some amazing things. I want to get some comments in real quick. Tyson says Jeff Hardy's best moment was his WWE Championship victory at Armageddon. Can't disagree with you there. That was an amazing moment for him. Pro Wrestling Podcast, Jeff landed right on his ass on that WrestleMania 25 match. Yes, he did. But it was gorgeous. We got the Turnbuckle Tavern themselves coming in here. Hardy's Boys reunion in that AEW tag division, getting that AEW Sting Legends treatment would be huge, bro.
Huge.
Hey, man, they can still go. I know you didn't really mean it in like a Sting every once in a while, but they can still go. I'm sure of it. I'm looking at more matches than Sting does per year.
Just like 2 weeks ago, we were talking about next challenger for Roman, and we'll get to obviously that. Yeah. But we were looking down the roster, we're like, it's got to be Jeff Hardy, right?
What happens now? Holy shit!
I mean,
stay tuned for that one, folks, because we got some stuff to say on that. Austin, by the way, this is random, but I was at ROH Final Battle, amazing pay-per-view, and adding the Hardys and Briscoes to AEW's tag division would be amazing. Yeah, I think the Briscoe, off topic AEW talk, but I think the Briscoes are definitely going there, especially after what happened with FTR, and the Hardys joining in there, it's just a match made in heaven. Yeah. Let's see what else. He was listening to "Release Me" by Wilson Phillips. Yeah, that was a good touch. He'll be respect. Yeah, I figured that's what you meant. But we'll definitely get a lot of Hardy Boy matches. But Tony Khan, I'm sure he was a huge Hardy Boys fan. Even Adam Page recently came out and said that the Hardys were one of the reasons why he came into wrestling in the first place.
Really? Well,
so I mean,
that's cool.
They'll definitely be respected there. So enough Jeff Hardy talk for now. I'm sure in the future we will be talking about him again. Jeff Hardy goes to AEW. He can use his music. Yeah, that is true. I really wanted to just hear No More Words for the rest of his career, but I guess I can listen to what's his band's name, Pero G ? Why? I don't fucking know.
I don't know.
He's going on tour, so if you're in the area, go ahead and support. Is Nick Khan taking over WWE? That is our next topic, and it's a loaded topic. So the day one pay-per-view is rapidly approaching. However, this was apparently the idea of Nick Khan himself. He wants to make this a recurring thing every year. And he is making sure that this card is stacked to the brim so that it is a big show going forward in future years, which leads us to believe, and already speculation, that Nick Khan is next to take the throne of the head of the WWE once Vince eventually passes the torch. If he ever will. I think he's immortal and we're never going to get rid of him, which isn't necessarily bad, whatever. What do you think about all this? From him taking control of day one, wanting to make this a big show, him being probably the next in line. We were thinking who was the next McMahon that was going to take the throne, because
Right.
who else would there have been? It was going to be Shane, Stephanie, maybe Triple H, but now Nick Khan comes in. What's your take on Nick Khan? Where do you see him in the future of WWE?
Well, real quick. So actually over the weekend, I want to share this picture real quick. So this is on the Rock's Instagram page.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Okay. So this blew me away. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to kind of read a little bit of the caption here, but it says,
just want to say what's up to the call up, Kenny. How you doing, my man?
Oh, big Kenny. The Rock says, this one's special, means a lot to me, years in the making, full circle. In the mid-1980s, Nick Khan, his sister, I can't really pronounce it, so yeah. I'm going to go with Miss Khan, and myself used to run around as kids in Honolulu, Hawaii, every month when my grandmother would promote her pro wrestling shows at our local arena. As kids, we loved the pro wrestling business, and as our adults, our love and respect for the wrestling business has become boundless. Now, years later, Nick is WWE president, blah, 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 blah. He goes into some other things. This kind of blew me away. I'm not going to lie. So, actually, my wife is the one that showed this to me. And I was like, wait, what? She was like, who's this? Who's Nick Khan? I was like,
who's Nick Khan?
Nick Khan is this guy who's trying to
turn that damn phone off. Who's Nick Khan? Turn that phone off. You shouldn't be listening to that. You shouldn't be watching that.
Nick Khan is Boney Khan's weird cousin that he smokes weed with.
The weird uncle that you only see on the holidays.
No, I mean, I read that, I'm just like, okay, because I always thought Nick Khan, and I don't know much about the guy, obviously, but I always thought Nick Khan was like somebody who had like real good business mind, and making all these cuts and doing this and that, trying to shape up WWE. I'm kind of confused, and then you brought this news up to me. I didn't even realize this was his idea, and then started reading more about it. I don't think it's a bad idea, to be honest with you.
Taking control.
I mean, it's better than Vince, with the creative control.
That's a debate to be had on Mondays. To be honest, is who at this point would run WWE more successfully, Vince or Nick Khan? I want to see actually the comment section weigh in on that. Give me an answer for that.
Yeah,
I actually look at some comments because Tavern says they like the day one idea. I do too. I want to talk about that real quick. The day one idea is not bad. Of course, it won't really work because January 1st doesn't always end on a Saturday or Sunday. But I like the idea of doing a show every January 1st. Just, a new concept that we really haven't seen before. You never seen like a show always happening on January 1st. Stay tuned for next month. You're already plugging the show. I love it. But they're stacking this card. And if this is going to be a recurring thing, you've even seen a much shorter pay-per-view schedule going forward. If this is going to be one of the recurring ones, I'm fine with it. First of all, I fucking hate gimmick pay-per-views, so we can get that out of the way.
Yeah,
this is not a gimmick pay-per-view, so I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
Plus, if we're going to get a stacked card every day one going forward, I'm fine with it. I think and we'll talk about the card later on in the show. But if this is Nick Khan's idea, it's not a bad idea. I will give him that.
Yeah, it's definitely piqued my interest too. Not just the concept, but this card has kind of piqued my interest. And like I'm kind of excited for it. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's probably the first time in a while I've been like jazzed.
I could say I'm much more excited for day one than I was for Survivor Series
or SummerSlam. I'll be honest, SummerSlam, probably even WrestleMania. I'll be honest with you.
Probably maybe.
So I mean, I've been pretty pumped for it. So we'll talk about all everything that's going on, but it's not bad. And I think honestly what they should do, and I know Chad's watching right now, and I agree with Chad. Chad, Vince is not a creative genius. He said it. I'll give him all the credit because whenever he said that, I'm like, at first I was like, wait, no. Wait, what are you talking
And
about?
I was the same, but I
And but
slowly started
whenever he started talking, I'm like, yeah, no, he's a great businessman.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's and he's absolutely right on that. He nailed it on the head with that. So I think you need to let Vince make the business decisions.
Right.
Maybe let Nick make the creative decisions, or at least give him a try.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he would need support with the Pritchards and the Heymans and the Ed Koskis and all those guys that have been in around WWE for a long time who have that wherewithal. But if you allow him to be the delegator, let Vince run the business side,
Mm-hmm.
then we'll see what goes on. So
I think this year is going to be very telling, 2022, as far as where Nick Khan stands in WWE and where he stands going forward. Because if we're kicking off the new year already with a Nick Khan invention and his creation, like, what does that have to tell you about what's been talked about, this negative talk of Nick Khan? Yes, it's warranted for the most part.
yeah.
I think a lot of this talk about Nick Khan is very much warranted.
Mm-hmm.
But, you could start to see more of a balance. Sure, you have that ruthless business side of him that you're getting all these releases. But at the same time, if you're getting these creative aspects, like you said, maybe we can start seeing more of Vince taking on the business aspect. Nick Khan maybe taking some of that business off of him, but also some of the creative end. So, it really piques my interest to see where we're going next year.
What about this? This would be interesting. Okay. This is something that just hit my head. And a lot of things just kind of hit my head. And I shouldn't maybe bring it up, but I should think about it before I talk. Okay, so we're talking about that Instagram post with The Rock.
Yeah.
Okay, we got Rock, we got Nick Khan, our buddies. I don't know how much money Nick Khan has. Rock's got good amount of change. He brings a couple of other investors in. What if they're the ones that buy WWE?
Damn. I mean, hey man, sell the XFL. You got a few more dollars to put towards that WWE. So,
I mean, I could totally see it. The Rock.
It could happen. It could
know?
definitely happen. I want to go to these comments real quick because we have an active chat tonight. I want to thank you all for tuning in.
Yes, we do.
We have so much ahead of us, but I want to get to these comments. Austin, no wrestling background. It'll be sad if he takes over. Bottom line is the only thing he cares about.
Well, but that's not true. According to The Rock, he's been around wrestling since the mid '80s. So
yeah, that's true. To call up says the things that is going on in wrestling in Hollywood is all a part of the Khan family plan to take over the world. I mean, we have now 2 Khans in wrestling. Well, 3 if you count Boney, but thank you, Tyson. Tyson's always our facts guy.
He's a man. He's a guy.
He's on top of it all the time.
Tyson's the shit, man.
Heyman should oversee all of creative, not just Roman involved. Ooh, maybe. I mean, the last time
he was given that directive already, but
yeah,
I don't know.
I would like to see Heyman with another run at creative, but
I have some creative power, but not all of creative.
Yeah, maybe not all of it. Tyson actually brings up day one as the Bloodlines pay-per-view, just like the Rock Bottom was for the Rock. I wouldn't say so. I get where you're coming from with day one of the Usos, but I feel like there would be more Bloodline brand to this pay-per-view if it was focused on.
I think that just happens to be, honestly. That's some
I mean, January 1st. That's obviously the go around for it. Call-ups. Very active. Vince and Nick are great business guys, but they need somebody that's going to come in, be creative. Tony is a fan, so he's booking matches the way he wants to see them. Nick is looking at the roster and saying, can you make me money? Can your look bring kids in? First of all, pause. Yeah. And I don't think that's – oh, okay. Can you bring – sure. That's better terminology. I'm sorry, Kenny. I think, you're definitely right. I don't think that's necessarily a bad outlook to have. Can you make money? That's the whole point of a wrestling company. Sure, at the same time, it is, can you produce good wrestling? But there's a certain point where if you want to grow the company, majority of the time that you've grown a wrestling company, you've had big stars associated, so you're going to need that. And I guess that's one way of looking at these releases. It's like these obviously Nick Khan, Vince, they don't see money in the guys that they're releasing, which you can argue either way around it. Again, I just think it's very interesting, like where we're going forward with Nick Khan. And I think so far, we're getting more bad than good when it comes to Nick Khan. But this day one, I don't know. There's a lot loaded that you wouldn't originally see before this.
But partly like makes me think, are they putting too many eggs in their basket too? Because you still got to book WrestleMania,
Yep.
So and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I mean, it's like I said, it's a loaded card without a doubt.
Yeah.
And
Something else we're going to talk about later on is this comment right here from the Tavern themselves. Very interested to see the Kevin Owens situation play out in day one, because now that we have a triple threat turned into a fatal four-way, this makes things a little bit more interesting. You got to tune into our Raw talk later down in the show. It's going to be a little bit of a longer show. I think we'll go around an hour, hopefully. But it doesn't matter. You always like to listen to our voices, folks, so stick around. And speaking of The Rock, I got his new energy drink. What'd you think of it? Tell us what you thought. If anyone else
had one.
If anyone else had the energy drink, tell us. I'm sure it's filled with power. What's his rap? Drive, power. We stay hungry. We devour. That would be a good tagline. Any other thoughts on Nick Khan before we move on to our next story?
I think we probably covered it.
Yeah. Again, like we'll talk more about Nick Khan. I'm sure we'll talk more about him like next week. But let's touch base on Nick Khan after day one to see how this pay-per-view goes about. Because apparently you got a lot of big stuff going on at that pay-per-view. So we'll talk about it once we get there. Johnny Gargano and Kyle O'Reilly are officially free agents in the world of professional wrestling, and we don't know what to make of that. So that is our final outside the ropes topic for this episode of the RAWDOWN. Where do we see Johnny Gargano and Kyle O'Reilly in the wrestling world now that they are gone from NXT 2.0, WWE, all of that? I feel like it's safe to say O'Reilly is AEW bound.
I think he is, yeah.
I feel like you wouldn't have Bobby Fish signed to a contract and not have Kyle O'Reilly.
Or Adam Cole, and also Adam Cole.
I that's why I was always interested that they signed Bobby Fish to a contract. Because I was always like, well, I mean, you sign Bobby Fish, that means you have to have Kyle O'Reilly. And then the news came out that Kyle O'Reilly's contract was expiring. And then it was like, okay, that makes a little more sense.
Adam Cole, I can't remember what podcast. It was either on Jericho's or Renee's podcast. He actually mentioned that wherever he's been, this little gap from September till now, this is the only time that Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole haven't been in the same wrestling promotion.
Wow.
They've always been in the same promotion, no matter what.
Yeah.
Ring of Honor, whatever, PWG, all that stuff. They've always been in the same promotion. So, I mean, I think Kyle O'Reilly's bound. Johnny, on the other hand, man, that's very confusing.
Yeah. Well, let's hold off on Johnny just for a little bit, because I want to go a little bit more on this Kyle O'Reilly, because, the way I look at it, a lot of people, you can make the argument like, oh, just another WWE guy going to AEW, get lost in the shuffle, wrestle on dark, all of that. And sure, we've seen it a few times recently. They just signed Tony Nese and now he's wrestling on dark. We've seen it, sure. But at the same time, this is so much different, because now you take Kyle O'Reilly and you're immediately, the only reason why you're signing him is to continue and realistically start a storyline that wouldn't be able to start without him. You can make it work with Adam Cole and Bobby Fish, but the Undisputed Era is 3 guys, if you count Roderick Strong, but whatever. So this doesn't work without Kyle O'Reilly. So they're definitely giving him a contract. I wouldn't be surprised if they have already talked and maybe even reached an agreement. as far as where and when he's coming to AEW. Once he signs, like I think you start to see kind of an inner feud within the Elite and the Undisputed Era and all that, which will be great, I think.
Yeah.
And I would love to see Red Dragon of Fish and O'Reilly versus the Young Bucks. I feel like that match just has to happen. And then when Omega comes back, like you could even do the Elite versus the Undisputed Era. There's so many things you can do with
You
this.
could do it, and what I'm thinking, whenever this would be the right timetable, because if they do it in the spring, do it in a blood and guts match.
Oof, that would be
Now it would
very
be
good.
3-on-3. I don't know how that would look exactly, but
And you've got time to build up to it. You can build this feud and with Omega not being around, you have time to build this feud to Blood and Guts. Stretch it out. This is a story that could go on for a year. If you could stretch the Inner Circle and the Pinnacle for a year, you can most definitely stretch the Super Click, Elite, Undisputed Era, all of this for a good part of a year. I want to ask you a quick question because I mentioned Roderick Strong and like it literally just came to mind. Do you think AEW would be as antsy to sign Roderick Strong if his contract was ending to add to this Undisputed Era? Or do you think that like Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, like they would be okay with just them?
I think they would be okay with just them. I mean, Roger Strong would help because if you do like an Elite versus Red Dragon, Undisputed Era, whatever you want to call it, whatever that faction name would be called, I think you would need at least 4-4.
Yeah.
So because you could put Brandon Cutler in there or Michael Nakazawa or something like those lines, one of those peripheral Elite members,
Yep.
and or you could even have somebody like join the Elite, potentially. With somebody like in the Undisputed Era, it's gonna be hard to like just have somebody like join up with them. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You would have to have like a feud within a feud type deal,
Right.
And I'm not sure if I'll be down for that. So
yeah,
I don't know. I'm trying to think offhand like what that would look like if they just stick with 3-on-3 or if they just do this feud within the feud, because that's kind of what NXT does with the War Games a little bit.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of ways you can go about this. Listeners, watchers, whatever we want to call them, tavern inmate. I don't know what do we call the fans? The tavern inmates.
No, let's not do that. The tavern patrons.
There we go.
The tavern patrons.
While we touch on our second wrestler to talk about, tell us what you think about Kyle O'Reilly. What would you do with him in AEW? Would you put him in AEW? Tell us in the comments, in the chat, while we talk about Johnny wrestling, Johnny Gargano. So I don't expect Johnny to wrestle. Austin says the Tavern Townies.
Yes.
I mess with that. That's a good note. Roderick Strong's wife, Marina Shafir, was on AEW Dark the past 2 weeks now. So pretty interesting. Johnny Gargano. I don't expect him to wrestle for a while because Candice LeRae is having a kid.
Right.
But when he does come back, because obviously he's not going to retire now that he's gone from NXT, or will he? Mm-hmm. He's not. Where do you think that he's going? Is it Impact? Is it AEW? Is it like somewhere crazy? What are you thinking?
So what I think is going to happen, I think he's going to stay a free agent, be daddy for a little while.
Yep.
Candice's contract is set to actually end in the spring.
Yeah,
2022.
Because they froze it because for her pregnancy.
And so maybe, I don't know, maybe she'll do some on-screen role or whatever that needs to do to unfreeze it. And I think he's just going to sit back, and then they're going to make that decision together. Yeah. Whatever it happens, if they decided, hey, we're going to stay in WWE, we're going to stay, or we're going to go to AEW. They're going to make that decision together. And that makes sense to me. And I think that's why, people were surprised to see that Pro Wrestling Tees store. Like, oh, that means she's AEW bound without a doubt. I don't know. Like WWE wouldn't have done that big send off for him if
Mm-hmm.
they knew without a shadow of a doubt he was leaving.
Right.
Because I mean, you compare it to what Kyle O'Reilly. I mean, he got hit in the face with a door. That
Yeah.
was his send off. Which is, look, I mean, people are like, oh, he's being buried. No, he's not being buried. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to go out,
Yeah,
put the young
absolutely.
talent over. That's the history of wrestling, right? It's not a burial of Kyle O'Reilly. Like nobody's gonna be like, oh, our last memory was Kyle O'Reilly getting in the face with a door. No, I mean it's a blimp on the radar. Um, so, but I mean, if you look at the two situations, social media was just like all over Johnny Gargano for WWE. WWE's actual verified social media was all over Johnny. So they're not going to put time and effort into someone that's leaving. Excuse me.
Mhm.
I think that he's told WWE, he's like, look, this is what I want to do. I'm going to make a decision. I'm going to open up my pro wrestling tea store next week. That doesn't mean I'm leaving. That doesn't mean I'm staying. Once Candace is done, well, once we have the baby, spend a couple months together thinking about it. I'll get back to you.
That's actually a good outlook. I've never heard anyone really say like, give it time. Well, obviously, wrestling fans just want to jump to a conclusion. I think that's a good outlook to have. Like, I think maybe he's just putting it on pause for now, like you said, and they'll reassess after they have the kid. Me, on the other hand, I think that his time in WWE is over. Just because I want some variety here. No, but I do think that his time I think it's over. I mean, they had him do the send off. Pro Wrestling Tees stores up. I don't know. Everything seems to be aligning. However, maybe a hot take. I don't see him joining AEW. I don't. It's not that I don't think he fits in AEW. I mean, that's definitely part of it. I just don't really see. Well, I think it comes down to I don't really think there's a solid place for him in AEW, and like that's really what I said about like Andrade. But like here we are, and he has pretty much a place in AEW. So maybe I'm crazy, but I don't know. I would like to see him just stay a free agent and kind of just hop around. I would love to see him
Hey,
in a.
yeah, I'm sorry, but real quick, I think Matt Cardona has done a great job with that. Like he's like been the poster boy for that,
Yes,
and he's shown like, look, you can do this, and you can be a hot star.
I
Like
would
out
love
of the
to see
market. So
Gargano and GCW, especially with Candice LeRae.
it would be pretty exciting.
Yeah,
Maybe,
because Candice LeRae has, if you've ever seen her old PWG stuff, like
oh yeah, oh
she's
she
not
can go.
afraid to
She
go
can
crazy.
go.
Yeah, it makes me wish that PWG was still around,
Right.
because they had You look back and it's like you took for granted how great of a roster they had. The amount of just star power, basically NXT's roster.
Right.
I wish it was still around. That's basically what AEW is now on a much grander stage, but whatever. Gresham versus Gargano at the GCW pay-per-view in the Hammerstein Ballroom. Wild and random take, wishful thinking. When is it? I don't
It's January. January.
hmm.
Mid-January sometime. I can't remember right now.
Okay.
Uh,
It might be a little too
so
soon.
GCW sold out Hammerstein
Yes.
Ballroom.
Yes, they did.
I don't, and I'm not sure if Mox. Mox of course is the GCW champion. I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be there or not. Nobody's really announced that. We know Cardona's going to be there. I'm sure Nick Gage is going to be there.
Yeah. Have they done the triple threat with oh, I guess not because Moxley hasn't been wrestling, but Moxley, Nick Gage, and Cardona? Because I feel like
No,
that's got to be the main event.
no, I don't know if they really announced the card that much. From my
Mm.
understanding, I could be completely off on that.
Yeah. I'm looking
But
forward to that show. It's going to be great.
yeah, it's gonna be a great show. I mean, look, I mean, and we have the Turnbuckle Tavern has a new GCW show.
Yeah.
GCW, man.
You got to look out for them. They even talked about GCW, comparing them to ECW on the latest debate show. Which, if you aren't watching the debate show, easily my favorite podcasting show on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
Check it out. So great. Such a great discussion that they always have. As the Turnbuckle Tavern themselves says, I really want to see some of these bigger free agents help elevate some of these NWA, GCW impacts. They need them. They need the help more than anyone. Yes. I want to, like we already mentioned, I want to see more wrestlers doing what Matt Cardona is doing, just hopping around. You know, you never really know where he's going to show up. Not necessarily signing to a company, but showing up in GCW, doing a tour in New Japan. And that doesn't really mean that he has to show up in AEW. You know, Matt Cardona only showed up in AEW for like a match because of Cody, and that was before his whole heel run. So, so much.
Just like news. And since April 2020, that's when he was released. He's been in AEW. Yep, there it is. He's been in AEW, GCW, Impact, and NWA. He's going for the Impact World title, I think, this weekend. And then at some point, it seems like the NWA title. So, man, he is just he's killing it. So,
Tavern also says Cardona is setting the template, man. Guy is killing it. That's coming from a non-major mark.
I'm a major mark. Clearly.
Just to put a bow on this, because we actually have to get into the Raw down talk. Unfortunately, we have to talk about Raw and SmackDown.
Some good stuff.
But I think we'll put it at O'Reilly's probably going to AEW. More than likely. I don't see him in Impact or anywhere. And Gargano's still up in the air. I could see either of our predictions going forward, like maybe he's still going WWE. I think maybe he just needs more time, but I would like to see him pull a Cardona and just jump around without being associated to a certain contract.
Not gonna lie, that'd be super fun to watch.
It absolutely would be. So many free agents right now. Like, I can't think of a time when there was like this many free, at least when I was have been a wrestling fan, and that's been for a cup of coffee, but this many free agents in wrestling this year alone. So many people to look forward to still. Like who's going to get associated with a company. It's an exciting time. And I love when he calls the GCW fans the GCW.
I started. I don't know if I started. I shouldn't say that, but I know I was one of the first on the internet to call the GCW Universal Championship.
Oh my goodness! All right, so with that all out of the way, we have already spent 48 big minutes talking about outside the ring. That's a loaded show in itself, but we still need to get to the Raw Down standard itself.
Do we have to?
Unfortunately, we do. What did you like from Raw and SmackDown this week?
So it was very top heavy. You know, there's definitely featuring main events with the main event stars, which that's what you're supposed to do. You know, I like Farmer Brock. Like
me too.
Like, you know, when you think of that, you're like, what is this? A combination of Henry O. Godwin and Brock Lesnar? But I'm digging
Sammy,
Farmer.
let's go to the farm. Let's go fishing.
I'm digging Farmer Brock, you know, and how he became a buddy. But like this whole Paul Heyman thing's got me a little confused a little bit.
Yeah, no, me too.
Like, you know, he's like he really like lit him up, like got him like pumped up, you know, old Brock. You know, it was like almost like like his trigger word. Yeah, his trigger word. You know, so he just was like, Brock angry. You know, but I mean, he kind of was like, you know, this is your next, reigning, defending, undisputed Universal Champion, and I'm like, whoa! What about your client? What about the tribal chief here?
Yeah,
you know. So,
I think this segment, and I know like Tom especially has been saying that he doesn't like what they're doing with the Roman feud and everything. This segment with the inclusion with Sami Zayn somehow is helping this story a lot.
Yeah.
I think this past 2 weeks have done a lot to kind of bring more interest to the story. I don't know. I think there's a renewed interest here. And I actually want to go through SmackDown and Raw, just quick results, just so we get back on pace here. Let me double check what happened. So, like I said, Sami Zayn started SmackDown. Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar interrupted. Shinsuke and Rick Boogs versus Los Lotharios. Why did I even mention that one? McIntyre defeated Sheamus in a pretty good match. We had a no contest between Naomi and Sonya Deville as the debut of Xia Li comes in. I do like her entrance, though. I think that's cool.
I've already ruined Xia Li.
I don't think so. Not yet. She had a cool entrance. That's all that matters. Toni Storm defeated Charlotte Flair via disqualification. That's another one. And New Day defeated the Usos and RK-Bro.
Let's talk about that real quick.
Let's do it.
And that's another point I wanted to bring up. Why the fuck is RK-Bro on SmackDown?
You know, it's to the point where I really don't care about the brand split. Like, we've been talking about ending the brand split.
Yeah.
But it
just makes no sense.
It
makes no sense.
It doesn't. But like,
why waste my time with this draft and then this champion's here and that champion's there and we're not going to touch this and we're not going to. Oh, and then we're going to have Survivor Series and Battle of the Brands.
Yes, that is true.
Why waste the last 2 months of we're gonna? You know why? Because SmackDown has nobody on their roster anymore.
Yep. Yeah.
They're dead in the water. They've released everybody, and so they were like in a pinch. Hey, Randy and Matt Riddle, y'all are entertaining on Raw. Come on over real quick.
However,
for a cup of coffee.
It was a good match.
It was a good match, but I mean, it's just like
as long as you're using them correctly and you're not doing like the wild card rule. Like, I'm cool with it, honestly. Like, we want to end the brand split. Like, this is as close to it as possible.
I'm hoping they do. Yeah, but it doesn't make sense. Like,
no, it doesn't.
Just another reason why they just need to do away with the brand split. That's just they're just adding more fuel to the fire.
It's never going to make sense. It's never going to make sense. But,
Tyson, pull up that comment. I forgot about that.
Oh, hold on. I was looking at the Raw. We have Brock Hunt.
Well, the next one, McIntyre. Thank God, McIntyre sort of stole it.
It was. I did not.
Yeah, catch that. It was. I think it was. I saw like highlights of it or parts of it. It was like in Adam Pierce's like desk or some stupid shit. They're killing McIntyre, man. They really are.
Are they really gonna? What are they doing with him at Mania? They better not put him up against Roman, because I thought I was interested in that match, but like after what they're doing with Drew lately, like
they're not. He's a former world champion. They're treating him like shit. Oh, look, here we go.
The fucking GCW show will go live this Sunday, covering GCW Blood on the Hills. Me and Mike keep an eye for the exact time. It'll always be on the Sunday or Monday following GCW pay-per-views. You heard it here, folks. New show coming. Looking forward to it. I didn't even know there was a GCW pay-per-view this weekend. I got to go ahead and check that out.
There you go.
But let me real quick go through the Raw stuff that happened.
Yeah.
The opening segment, which set up the what would come later for Lashley.
I'm gonna steal Hawk's line. It's fine.
Yeah.
It was fine.
It's fine. You had, what else did you have here? Otis defeating Matt Riddle.
It's fine.
Bianca Belair defeating Doudrop, which did you hear about that they are filing for the Piper Niven name?
Yes. Give it to me. I've been wanting it. God. And Doudrop she looked good.
Yeah. They've been, Bianca and Doudrop have been putting on pretty good matches.
Yeah, they have.
So I don't know if they're going to do one at day one. They've already done 2 matches, but I don't know. We got to see. Bobby Lashley defeated Kevin Owens in a little screwy finish. You had what happened here with Finn Balor and Damian Priest and the Dirty Dogs and
That
then
does
Austin
that
Theory.
I don't.
Yeah, Austin
The
Theory
the
is
burial of Finn Balor. Here we go.
talking about burial. Rhea Ripley losing in 3 minutes.
Oh
to
my
Queen
god.
Zelina. That was
Oh
bad.
my god. 2 years ago, Rhea Ripley was the hottest thing in women's wrestling.
Yep.
And look at where she's at now. Like, my god.
Bobby Lashley defeated.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say Bobby Lashley defeated Seth Rollins, then Bobby Lashley defeated Big E to close out.
That was a great match.
That was a really great match.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, definitely things I would cut. Most SmackDown or 2 of SmackDown. And I did feel like they were trying to push more wrestling matches after last week. Like, oh, we got to put more wrestling out there. Like, oh yeah, that's right, we're a wrestling company.
I forgot we got wrestling in the name.
We got to put action in the ring. Damn it.
We actually have to do stuff in the ring. God damn it.
Where's my insurer? God.
Where's my egg? Somebody stole my fucking egg.
Somebody stole my egg.
Oh my god. As far as stuff I would cut from this week, the
Rhea Ripley and
Rhea Ripley, yes.
Zelina.
What else? Finn Balor getting buried.
Rick Boogs and Nakamura.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot about that one.
Just get rid of that whole duo. Like,
yeah, it's about time. Just let Nakamura wrestle.
Right.
Like, or just release him at this point. You're already on a hot streak. Like, send it. Fuck, dude. Yeah, a lot to cut this week. However, what would you say was your match of the week? Because as much as we cut this week, I will say there are a lot of match of the week contenders.
I really like the Big E Bobby Lashley match. I think that could probably be a potential WrestleMania match.
Yeah,
and
I would love to see that.
That's one issue I have though with having that match. I don't think they realized it honestly. Like how good of a match they could put on.
Right.
Because we didn't really see much of them. Well, no, we saw that cage match.
Yeah, we saw the cage match.
That's a problem. Now we've seen two matches with them, so they're going to book that for Mania.
Yeah, I mean,
it's going to be tired, you know.
Yeah,
and that's one little issue I have with the day one pay-per-view is they're making it so stacked that they're not seeing.
You're not saving anything for the big show.
Right.
Very true.
Mania. So,
well, I mean, maybe that goes to show like the level that they put this day one show on going forward, that they are stacking it. You know, maybe this is the next big show coming forward.
Right.
So that's one outlook on it. Before I say my match of the week, I do want to say, as Tyson brings up Hawk, go listen to the Broken VCR Chad and Hawk review the original Black Christmas.
Yes.
We appreciate the love, Tyson. Me and Hawk enjoy nerding out over movies. We're film school rejects. It's a lot of fun.
Well, Hawk is a film school reject.
Yeah. Having fun in
He's
Hawaii.
a reject at life.
Yeah.
he's not a reject being in the slip, though, especially Hector slip. So.
Yeah, very true. My match of the week, I'm going to also give it to Lashley and Big E. Very fun match. I love the inclusion of the tables. Although a close second, maybe I'll give to McIntyre and Sheamus because they can never pull off a bad match. It seems. I thought they had a pretty good match overall. Yeah. So a lot of good matches. Even the Bianca Belair match, tag team match.
That's definitely a runner up for me too. Like
absolutely.
The Bianca and Piper. We're gonna keep speaking into fruition here.
Exactly.
Piper Niven.
Very true. Very true. You got any hot takes for us?
Hot takes. I guess I kind of already talked about it. I'm looking at some of the comments here. We talked about Johnny. We talked about everything else going on. I'm gonna let you go first, and I'm gonna see if I can think of something here.
Oof. Hot take. Well, I already mentioned I do not want to see Drew in a world title match at Mania. Hot take also, just release Shinsuke at this point just to save me the sheer sadness of watching one of my guys, one of my boys, just be put on the back burner for Rick Boogs. Even though apparently Rick Boogs is a fan favorite here at the tavern. Everyone seems to love Rick
it's
Boogs.
Hawks. It's Hawks' favorite.
Yeah, but a fan for Hawk is a fan for all, I will say. Fuck.
All right.
Other hot takes.
I got one.
Okay.
Rated RK-Bro, or I'm sorry, RK-Bro. Sorry, RK-Bro. They're gonna lose the tag titles at day one.
Ooh, to who?
Alpha Academy.
Wow, really? You got that much faith?
Mm-hmm. And hopefully, we're gonna start seeing the demise of RK-Bro.
Yeah, I think it's about time. It makes sense. WrestleMania, Randy Orton and Riddle.
Right.
That could be a fun program. Yeah, I'll agree with you on that. Here's a hot take. I think Kevin Owens is officially leaving because of this inclusion with Bobby Lashley. I think I alluded to it earlier on the show. I think this adds an extra layer to this whole Kevin Owens story, and I don't know. I think originally I thought that it was just going to be Owens, probably winning the title here. Oh, you know what? Wait. Maybe the inclusion of Lashley is for Owens to pin Lashley and win the title so that we protect Seth Rollins.
Well, and protect Big E as well too. That's all.
Protect Big E. Because originally it was going to be pinning Seth Rollins. Maybe WWE thought this guy's really over with the fans right now. We can't afford him to lose.
Yeah. Maybe do that. Maybe I think if you don't have The Rock going to Mania this year, I think the only thing you have from Roman, you have Seth,
Stone Cold.
You have Seth win the Royal Rumble, and he goes on to challenge Roman. Potentially.
I've heard about them doing Seth and Roman for so long now. Maybe this is a hot take. I've never been really intrigued in seeing Roman and Seth again. They've teased it, but it was always like, okay, sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
if
like
you must
not
insist.
A Mania match, you know what I mean? Like
another hot take. Roman's about to turn face.
Really?
Along with the bloodline.
Ooh. I don't know if I'm going to agree with you on that one because from the amount of challengers that lack thereof, especially on the face side of things or even the heel side of things, I don't know. I feel like you haven't built up enough heels really for Roman.
I mean, he's the most over thing in WWE, especially SmackDown. Everybody's holding up that one finger when they come out. So
yeah, that is
and
very fair.
They may be slowly kind of getting people behind Roman. I don't think his character will change much.
No, I don't think so. I think it's bound to happen, but I don't know about so soon. I think at least past Mania, we'll still see heel Roman.
Okay, all right, I'll give you that. Yeah.
Tyson also brings up, is Kevin Owens going over there where Buck's already there? That's one way of looking at it.
Yeah, and you know what? That could be your fourth member for Blood of War.
Yeah. Isn't that Mount Rushmore?
Pretty much. No. Well, actually, it's Adam Cole, Bucks, and Owens or Steen is Mount Rushmore.
Who says that Adam Cole would align with the Undisputed Era?
No.
That's I don't know.
Yep.
A lot of interesting stuff happening.
Yep.
All right. it is finally time for our last segment on today's episode. And I got to ask you a question, Boney. Who won the week? Was it Raw or was it SmackDown?
Well, for probably the fifth week time in a row, I think it's Monday Night Raw. They got the hot hand over there. And I think a lot of that is because they have the roster that SmackDown doesn't have.
Right. I'm going to disagree with you for this week.
Here we go.
I'm going to give it to SmackDown this week simply because I think they did a better job with building up certain talents. As much as we say, we don't really like what's going on with Drew, I think they showcased him really well against Sheamus.
Okay.
I liked the Xia Li debut. I don't know about some other people. The Brock Lesnar segment was the best thing all week. The triple threat tag team was also very good. So, and I also just look at it from the other end of Raw's, as much as they're doing some great stuff, they're burying some talent. Rhea Ripley, Finn Balor.
All right, well, that's a fair point. I don't know. I felt like overall it was a better show, but
yeah, it was definitely a better show than what we've seen in recent months. And Raw is becoming a consistent positive for WWE.
It is
they're doing decent. I think they're finally realizing we can't put on shit Raws anymore.
Yeah, so. Yeah. It's been good. It's been pretty good,
Thankfully, we'll see how long that continues, but
for
now we're doing pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's nothing else to say, I think we have just about wrapped up.
A big, huge, extra long episode of the Raw this week.
Not too long. I thought we were going to hit around 120 or so, but 110, we're good at 110.
Yeah.
Folks, we want to thank you for tuning in, listening, watching another episode of the RAWDOWN. If you enjoyed what you heard, make sure to go ahead and leave a like down on this video. Drop a comment telling us who you think won the week. Was it Raw or was it SmackDown? Talk about the outside the rope topics that we talked about. What's the future for Jeff Hardy? Or actually, what's your favorite memory of Jeff Hardy? What's the future looking like for
Leave the
O'Reilly
memories
and Gargano?
alone. Don't change a thing.
The way it is. What else? And is Nick Khan going to take over WWE? That's a loaded question for you. Comment down in the comments below. JBone, where can we find you and Coming Down the Aisle?
You can find Coming Down the Aisle at Coming Down the Aisle. And of course, you can find me on Twitter at @down_aisle. Head over to the link tree. Check out the YouTube link as well, too. Got some Free the Fig stuff going on. Just like I said, just posted Jeff Hardy. I'm going to have some bendies. I'm going to open up some old school stuff coming up. So,
nice. And of course, I already plugged them at the beginning of the show, but of course, I got to do it again because we're on their channel. Make sure you go ahead and follow the Turnbuckle Tavern everywhere that you find your social medias, your podcasts, your merch. Make sure you find us everywhere and support because we're doing some amazing stuff over here. And you want to join and be a part of the tavern and hop on the bandwagon while you can before, we get too big and people are calling you a bandwagon once you become a fan of us, especially young Anthony and JBone. But
right, yeah,
we like to call ourselves the dark horse MVPs of the tavern. I don't know.
We're the glue between Saturday and Tuesday, or I guess if you will. We are. We help bind everything together a little bit.
We very much do. We very much do. But with all that out of the way, folks, thank you so much for tuning in to yet another edition of the RAWDOWN. We will see you next Tuesday. But until then, take care and spike your hair.
Woo, woo, woo.
You know it.